For whatever it might be worth, and we'll try to figure this out, Nikki Haley is having a moment. She's making her case to voters in New Hampshire, telling them, among other things, former President Trump was the right choice for the country in 2016, but now the country should move on. Let's listen.
Chaos follows him everywhere he goes. And with a country divided like we are, and distracted, by the way, and a world that's got threats pointed all at America, we can't afford any of that chaos.
Robert Costa and Nidia Cavazos join us now. Robert, as you well know, is CBS News chief election and campaign correspondent. Nidia is a CBS News campaign reporter following the Haley campaign. Robert, this is a moment for Nikki Haley, it so appears. Is it a meaningful one?
She has a long way to go. She has to still make a coherent case to voters and to donors that she has a viable path to the nomination to get through former President Trump. At this point, she has a moment in the context of the second tier of those in the polls.
Right.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, Vivek Ramaswamy, the entrepreneur, Nikki Haley, Governor Burgum, among others. They're all competing to be seen as the second-place champion. Well, second-place champion doesn't get you the nomination.
No, it doesn't.
So she has the Americans for Prosperity Action endorsement, which has a connection to the Koch network. She's getting some support from Jamie Dimon, the business executive, and others who are saying, let's look at her. They don't love Trump. But at this time, the Republican Party, I've been out there on the trail, is still a party that's interested in Trump, likes Trump. Yes, they buy her case that he's chaotic, but many of them embrace the chaos.
Right. And it seems to me, Robert, it's worth pointing out that whatever else Nikki Haley might have achieved, she's at least positioned in a way that she wasn't 6 months ago to take advantage of something if it breaks her way. And that's the first thing you have to do in a presidential crowded primary field. Put yourself in a decent position. It seems she's at least achieved that, which others in the field haven't.
We'll see. I'm skeptical about
I'm not saying
everyone
that she's
who's
going to do anything.
Right, I know, right.
But compared to where DeSantis was 5 months ago, would you have said Haley would be having a moment now? You probably would have said maybe
so
not.
she's having a moment now, and it's almost December. So does DeSantis stay in the race, as we expect, and have a moment when he does well in Iowa? Does he win Iowa? Does he come in second in Iowa?
Beat
and that's the
expectations.
first contest. So if DeSantis gets a bounce in Iowa, that puts pressure on Haley to have a strong New Hampshire. But Chris Christie's still in the race. He's not showing any sign of getting out. So for her to get that kind of traditional Republican vote in New Hampshire, having Christie in the race makes it difficult. DeSantis getting a bounce in Iowa will make it difficult. That puts a lot of emphasis on her home state of South Carolina further in the calendar.
Nidia, you're there in New Hampshire around events with Nikki Haley. What are you hearing from those who are attending those events, and is she changing minds?
Yes, well, the reality here is that Donald Trump continues to lead. He continues to be the front runner, and it's himself that's really resonating with Republican voters. But now when it comes to the Republican voters that are attending Nikki Haley's event, there seems to be some sort of Donald Trump fatigue. So this is resonating with the voters, Republican and independent voters who come to Nikki Haley's town halls, because most of them also tend to be undecided and they're still shopping around. They know for a fact that they used to support Donald Trump, but they're sort of tired of his chaos, of the drama, of the legal cases, and they're just looking forward to having some sort of order, not only in their country, but in their world. So to a certain extent, Nikki Haley's message on Donald Trump and the chaos and the drama that follows him resonates with voters who are showing up and who are in the midst of picking their presidential choice.
But in New Hampshire on the ground, does it still feel to you that Trump remains the very heavy favorite?
It certainly does. And despite the fact that we get mixed reactions from the crowds attending various campaign stops, not only for Haley, but also for DeSantis, and this is across Iowa, New Hampshire, and South Carolina, we know for a fact that many acknowledge that Donald Trump continues to be the front runner, but they still have some sort of hope that there might be some time for them to change their minds and really listen in. And they're also hoping that Nikki Haley can continue to gain some momentum and really narrow that gap. So it's mixed feelings that we're getting here in New Hampshire from voters. They just remain hopeful that there might be an alternative to Donald Trump.
Robert, you talked to the Trump campaign, so do I. They sort of laugh at all this. Like, look at the numbers, folks. The numbers don't lie. The numbers, if anything, keep showing more support, not less, the former president, and this thing, from their perspective, at least as I gather it, to their minds, is nearly over.
Well, they're laughing, but they're spending money.
Sure.
When Trump's on the air, and when you're on the air spending money on advertising, that means you're taking the competition seriously to some extent. And if he doesn't come out of Iowa, Trump, in New Hampshire, in South Carolina, with a commanding lead of delegates and momentum, then this is a race. It's a race that will go through Super Tuesday. Maybe 2 or 3 of the rivals hang on. They maybe could take it all the way to the convention. So Trump, yes, he's ahead in the polls, but if he doesn't get that big jolt out of the early contest, there's a reason a lot of them will stay in. And donors are saying now they want an extended race at the very least.
And that key aspect of momentum coming out of Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, vital for Trump, because after that comes not only Super Tuesday and lots of other contests, but court battles that will be very real and have an effect not only on his schedule, but on the public imagery around him.
I'm not so sure about Iowa. I mean, there's never been a nominee Huckabee, nominee Santorum, or nominee Cruz. They all won Iowa. They didn't win the nomination. If he stumbles in New Hampshire and Christie and Haley are able to eat into Trump's coalition there, and he stumbles in South Carolina because Haley comes into her home state and does well, all while the trial's playing out in Washington on January 6th, it could raise some questions about his electability. But I've covered Trump since 2010, 2011, in the political world at least. He's going to come at you with everything.
Everything.
Assume nothing about how the norms of politics works. You've written numerous books about Trump. He's going to attack mercilessly.
And he has state parties and a national party more in his camp than it was in 2016, a structural advantage that is often but should never be overlooked. Robert Costa, Nidia Cavazos, thank you so very much.